Hey guys, this is Shannon with Nearly Organic Noshing, and I am working on some packing right now. And Chris and I are going to be going on a trip for 9 days to Tennessee without the children. We are very excited about this. The kids are finally old enough that we can go on an extended trip and not burden anybody with having to watch the children. They're 18 and 21 now. Jaden is a senior in high school. Trevlin has a full-time job and is in college. And Jaden works. So they're good kids, they're responsible kids, and we also still have, friends and family keeping an eye on them. But we are going to go on a real vacation. We do take family vacations, but we always have the kids and extra kids. So this is going to be a kid-free vacation for us. So the last couple of weeks I have been packing a little bit at the time, and at the end of this video I will add any clips that I have of individual items that I was packing, and I will try and include anything that I've done so far in there. But I just wanted to give a few tips and tricks that I use when packing. One of the things is, if you notice, everything has this red and white either tape or ribbon. I do all of the packing. Chris doesn't really do any of this side of it. And this just makes it super, super simple that when he sees it, he knows that this belongs to us, because we are not just going to one campsite. We're actually taking our enclosed trailer and we're turning it into a camper. It's just a big box, and I'll have a video also on that, on what we're doing with that. But we are going to be moving literally every 2 nights. So we aren't going to be in the same place for very long. So we're going to have to constantly unpack, repack, unpack, repack. And it'll just make it easier for him, because we're meeting a group of friends, to be able to easily identify what is ours and know what goes in the truck. Because I would love to have everything matching, but I don't. Some of these are bins that we take to camp. Some of them are just extra bins I have. Some are ones I had in the pantry. So I'll just quickly kind of go through what I have and why I have it. I have a rubber mat that's rolled up here. That is just going to go outside the door, someplace to step out of the camper, kick our shoes off or put our shoes on. Of course, a broom for the camper. I have some cat litter and wood shavings. That is going to be for our composting toilet, because our camper does not have a bathroom, doesn't have a shower or a bathroom. So we're going to have a pop-up tent outside. We are actually going to be staying at campgrounds that do have bathrooms, but in case something ends up happening and we have to go to one of the like rustic sites that does not have running water or anything like that, we will be able to take care of business that we need to take care of. So that is what that's for. I have cases of water and soda. This is all going to go, all of the drinks, into an empty cooler, because we will be a couple of days into our trip before we touch the coolers. So that is just going to be a good storage place for all of that. These items back here are in waterproof bags, which I don't have them all sealed down yet. These are seat heaters. It was snowing 3 or 4 days ago where we're going, but it's also been up in the 60s. We don't really know what the temperature is going to be like. It is fluctuating drastically, so not entirely sure what it's going to be like. So we are going to be in an open vehicle. We're going to be in a General, which it has like half doors, but no windows or anything like that. So if it's in the 30s or 40s and it's expected to be raining, which it is, it's going to be nippy. So we have some of these. I also picked up things like hand warmers and shoe warmers that you put in your shoes. We have a dry change of clothes in here, along with extra towels, and it'll all be vacuum packed down, so that if we do go through deep mud puddles or anything like that, everything will be dry. And if we get soaked out on the trail and just rain absolutely poured on us, we will have a change of clothes to get into. This is my trail backpack, and I think I did some video on this. I will have to double check. If not, I will do it on everything that I keep in this book bag, because if I'm on a four-wheeler, or if I'm on the General, or if I'm just going off for the day out in the woods, I take this with me. It has everything. It has a first aid kit, it has medicine, it has bathroom stuff, it has paper goods, bug spray, a little folding shovel. If you could possibly need it when you're out on the trail, it is in this book bag. I keep my gun in this bag, and I also keep my wallet and phone in this bag with whatever vehicle I'm on. So this is mine. It'll be bungee to whatever mode of transportation I am on. So, and I will go over the things I keep in there. Normally, I keep bedding in this giant bag. In the past, it's been our dive bag when we go diving in the summer, but I am using it for all of our winter gear. I have multiple jackets in different thicknesses for us to take out there because I really, again, just don't know how the weather is going to be. And it's supposed to be raining if the weather is correct. So if a jacket gets soaked, I want a spare. We are staying, like I said, at campgrounds that will have laundromats, so I will be able to wash clothing and linens, but if you get absolutely soaked, you're going to want spares. The first night when we head up, we're in Florida. We're going to be heading to Georgia and staying with family in Georgia, so this is the only bag we will have to take in when we go stay with our family in Georgia. It is already packed, ready to go. All we have to do is carry that one bag inside. Everything else will stay packed. This Costco bag, it is so stained up. I've washed it many times, but I took it in the general. It's become my general dry good bag because it's got the plastic liner. It got really, really muddy, so it has just become our camp bag. Dry things will go into it, like chips, snacks, bread, things that I don't want to go in the cooler that I want to be able to zip up, keep contained, and dry. So that is what that bag is for. These sleeping bags, we may not even open. These are just extra bedding to take with us. If it gets really, really cold, then we'll have some extra bedding. If another person in our group needs an extra blanket or sleeping bag, we will have it. They're not very big. They don't take up a lot of space. So the way I see it is I'd rather have too much than not enough. So we're taking extra of those. These are our air mattresses. They are doubles, and the way our camper is set up with a sleeping platform, Chris is actually going to sleep up top. We have one made, and you'll just have to look. I'll try and link the video whenever I do the tour of how the camper is set up. He's going to sleep up top because it is easier for him to hop up onto a top bunk than it is for me, and I'm shorter, so I can go on the bottom. Just the width of the enclosed trailer does not work for us sleeping side by side. We would have to sleep with one person against the back wall and one person on the front, and he'd be kicking the wall all night, and I'd have to climb over him to get into bed. So it is just easier for us to sleep bunk style, top bottom. So that's what those are for, and they are good quality, and they sleep really, really well. In this vacuum pack down here is all of our bedding. I do have extra blankets packed. I have extra pillows packed, again, because I'm unsure of how the weather's going to be. I wanted to make sure that since this trailer has no insulation, it's just a metal trailer with, has wood on the walls, but we've not insulated it or anything because it's a multi-purpose enclosed trailer. I mean, we use it for transporting of vehicles, for moving, for appliances. We use it for everything. So, no special modifications have been made to it, except Chris just put in some electricity, and we'll be able to plug things in inside. It does have some venting and a couple of doors, and I'll make sure I include the video on the things we've done to it, but it's still just a basic empty box. Down here I have a couple of rugs and runners. The platform that Chris is going to be sleeping on is essentially just a giant piece of plywood, and it's very splintery. So where he is going to be getting off and on the bed, this will run the full length of the sleeping platform. So when he is climbing up and he puts his knee up on the plywood, he's not going to get splinters. Same thing if he puts his feet off the bed, there will be a runner next to his bed. Same thing with me. The floor is not nearly as bad as the plywood platform, but still it is nice to, when you get out of bed, to put your feet on something soft when you're putting shoes and things like that on. So that is what that one is for, along with a bunch of other stuff. This is just one of our general camp boxes. Now, if you look on the top of every bin, it has in bold print what type of items are in that bin. And then I have a detailed list of every item that is in the bin. Like, this is my kitchen box. This is one of my kitchen boxes. Anything that is related to kitchen, cooking, setup, coffee pot, camp stove, pots, pans, whatever, it is in this box. And I can just look down the list and I know what is in this box. I think the bathroom one is below it. Let's see if I can do this. Yep, there is the bathroom one. In this is our composting toilet, paper towels, tissue, wood shavings, trash bags, a mirror, the curtains, metal stakes for the pop-up tent, magnets, Lysol wipes, and air fresheners. There also is a shower bag, which I forgot to write down on the list. Excuse me. So all of that is in the bathroom bag. And the reason why we have curtains in there is a couple of the campgrounds we're staying at don't know how close we're going to be to the bathrooms. And if it is really far away, we may not necessarily want to hike to the bathroom in the middle of the night. And since we are in an enclosed trailer, there are no windows. So we have no way of looking out and seeing what's going on outside. And Chris really just did not like the idea of us walking out blind in the middle of the night at like 3 a.m. to go to the bathroom. So instead of using the little pop-up tent behind the camper at night, I am sectioning off an area in the front of the camper just to give a little bit of privacy if you need to get up in the middle of the night and use the restroom. So I don't love the idea, but it is just Chris and I in the enclosed trailer, so it will just have to work for now. I have our food separated into items that I use for meals and meal prep and snack food. And I am ashamed to say, for a month or more now, I have just been picking up a little bit at the time whenever I go to the store to take on our trip. That's how I do for trips like in the summer when we go with the kids. And I am used to buying for like 8-10 people. There's usually a ton of us when we go on a trip. And this entire bin, like to the top, is filled with snack food, junk food, all kinds of stuff, chips and granola bars and cookies. Anything that can be considered snack or junk food is in this bin, and it is full. So yeah, there's no way we're going to go through that. I'm just so used to packing for so many people that I was buying like I'm packing for that many people, and I'm not. So that is all food. We're going to pick up any perishables when we're there and meat. We have a freezer full. We could take everything with us, but we're a little bit unsure of how many meals we're going to be eating out, how many meals that the group is going to want to do together, and how much we need to pick up. So Chris said he'd rather just buy perishables once we're there instead of taking them with us. The only thing I am taking with us is I have like potatoes, onions, peppers, and eggs, farm fresh eggs, apples, things that I went grocery shopping in my pantry and pulled everything out. I'm going to make things like camp cobbler, biscuits and gravy. I have things of flour and sugar. And I'll just pop this real quick and show you here. I threw an extra thing of paper towels in here just to kind of wedge the eggs over here. But I have just like Ziploc bags of flour, brown sugar, regular sugar. And then I keep all of my seasoning packets in here. And I believe I did a little bit of filming on how I have this set up. There's little baggies inside each of these flip tops. Because if you don't put it in little baggies in this kind, then they will all go sliding into each other. The ones that have screw tops, you can just dump the seasoning directly in there, but if you don't have screw tops, you can't do that. So this is our food bin, and like I said, I just kind of, a lot of it, I went pantry shopping and just went into the pantry, and if I thought we might use it and it was a dry item, then I brought it with us. Except I did not bring much of my home canned items because I did not want to run the risk of glass jars busting, and then if I take glass jars, I need to wash them, clean them, and bring them back. And I want to be able to get rid of things on this trip and not have to bring as much stuff back. So, and that is that. We do have camp stoves. I have more than one source of cooking. So if one source fails, I have a secondary and a third source. I have sterno cans that with a little frame that goes over it so I can put a pot on it. I have charcoal, small little charcoal portable grills. And then I have a big camp stove that's a 2-burner camp stove and a griddle. And I have my cast iron and stuff like that. So I'll be able to cook multiple ways. And we're also going to have fire pits and fire rings and things like that there. So definitely we'll have multiple ways of cooking. And I plan on cooking in a variety of methods whenever I go. This little green bin down here is my first aid kit. And I'm going to need a bigger first aid kit. Actually, this one isn't quite big enough for what I need. This will probably get downsized to like my car first aid kit. And then our big first aid kit will have to be bigger than this. So it just has all of the basic supplies that you could possibly need for being out when you're camping. So if anybody gets hurt, I've got it. So, and just one of the things that I thought I would mention, I think I did some video on this and I'll try and include it if I did, is a magnifying glass. A lot of people don't think about putting something like a magnifying glass in a first aid kit, but especially if you're going in the woods and you get splinters or there's a tick or something kind of buried down in there, a magnifying glass and a good set of tweezers, which are in here, are 2 items that could really be necessary to try and get out a really nasty splinter, or if a tick has buried down or something like that you need to get out. So, and gloves are always a huge thing. This is some the glue, like the new skin glue if you have a cut to glue it back, and stomach medicine. This is a blood stop stick, just tape, gauze, you name it, the basic stuff is in here. So this is our first aid kit, and like I said, I think I did a little bit of filming on this, and if I did, I will include it. And one of the other things I have is an empty bin, and you might think, why do you have an empty bin? Because whenever we finish the last of our packing, there's always extra things. Like I know I need to wash laundry tomorrow and throw in a couple of pairs of jeans. I plan on having all of this stuff packed away in the vehicle before tomorrow night. I will keep one bin out. And any last minute items that are in my planner as I go through and I go, oh, I didn't pack that. Oh, I didn't pack that. That will go into the extra bin. And then whenever we get to camp and I unpack the bin, I can take any items that are in here and put them into the corresponding bin, whether it's a kitchen bin, bathroom bin, personal bin of mine and Chris's clothes or something like that. So this bin will sit out and any last minute items will just get tossed in here. And I know that there's going to be last minute items, personal items, contact solution, Tylenol or, an extra blanket, whatever. So it's always a good idea when you're going on a big trip and you're taking a lot of stuff to have that extra bin. Right now, that's in it is extra bungee cords and Gorilla Tape. We may need it. I don't have it on any of my other lists. And, when we put stuff in, we might need that. So I went ahead and threw that in there. So as I get everything packed up, it will all go neatly. We have a truck with a cover on the back, and what does not fit in there will be packed around the general once it's in the trailer, but I don't foresee having issues. We are taking our own firewood. We have a splitter and we split all our own wood and stuff here. I split up a bunch of kindling the other day, And when you go to a campground, they're more than happy to sell you bundles of like 10 sticks for $1 each. So instead of spending $10 or $20 on firewood and kindling, we are just bringing our own. So this is where we're at right now. We still have our coolers. Like I said, though, we are not picking up any perishables. One cooler will just be full of all of the warm drinks and waters and things like that. And then the other will just go ahead and get it strapped into the general. So this is where I'm at right now. It is almost 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm about to call it quits. I still have a very busy day ahead of me tomorrow, along with a full day of work. So if I get any more packing done tomorrow, I will include it in this video and show you how we get everything done. But I thought I would just include this. This is a great way to pack because you have the list, and if somebody else is not the one packing, then it just helps them out so much. At the top it'll say, these are my clothes, and then I believe I have Chris's clothes even. Yep, those are Chris's clothes. And then I don't remember what's in this bottom bin down here. I think it is just general camp stuff. But everything has a label. Everything has a list. I have a master list of items that needed to be packed, and I will double check that list tomorrow and see what is not highlighted, and just to double check that everything has been packed. And if it's not packed, it'll go into this empty bin. I will include a video up in the corner of how I do this when I have kids. You see the red and white on all of this. Quite often the kids are out for school in the summer whenever I'm trying to pack for a vacation, and once they were old enough, I could put them in charge of loading the vehicle. And what I did is I would mark each item with a different color ribbon so they would know where they needed to pack it. If it had a blue ribbon, it would go on the boat. If it had, say, a yellow ribbon, it went into the back of the truck. If it had a red ribbon, then it would go into the cab of the truck. You know, it just made it really simple that the kids just had to look at whatever color tape or whatever color ribbon was on an item, and I would just tell them ahead of time, this is where it goes. And they could be responsible for packing it and putting it where it needed to go. So I will try and link that video. I'll have to find it and link it. But once I get all this stuff packed into the truck, I'll show you what it looks like. One other thing I wanted to show you, you always see on camping Pinterest and stuff like that, they show that you're using like a pill holder to hold your spices, which, yes, in theory, that's great. But what they don't show you in actuality is if you were to pop open one of these, see the gap right there? You can't just dump spices in here and leave them. If you have the ones that are round, that are the screw top, that all hook together, yes, you can do that with those. You don't have to put your seasonings into little baggies. But what I do is I just have, and I cut up plastic bags and then just took a little mini rubber band and rubber banded the top. And these are just spices that I use often. Just, you know, the basic ones that we use all the time. And then I have a bigger one of salt because you use a lot more salt than you do anything else. So I have this, and it just makes it nice and simple and easy. But you can't just dump seasonings into these and expect them to stay. As soon as you tilt the sucker, all the seasonings are going to all mix together, and all your hard work will be for nothing. So I just wanted to point that out. A lot of times, you know, people see that, oh, it's such a great idea. Yeah, it is. You're just going to have to put them in baggies, or you're going to have to get the round ones that screw together, and those are really cool. I had picked this one up. I couldn't find my other one. I had another one. I think it must have gotten left at camp, and it was the round one that all hooked together, and the seasonings are just loose in that. Okay, So I am packing our cold weather gear, and I put our extra shoes in with our cold weather gear. Most likely we're not going to have to use the tall boots unless it starts just dumping rain when we're there and it's really muddy. So Chris and I both wear these. These are redbacks, and they're from Australia. They run between $100 and $150, but they last a couple of years. And I will have to say, these are the best investment I've ever made. And they come partway up your ankle. And most likely, that's what we're going to be wearing the entire time. But I just wanted to show you how I pack the boots and the extra shoes to take up the least amount of space. I have all these really big, thick winter socks. They are all going to get stuffed down into the toes of the boots. And then in each boot will be our second pair of shoes. I'll take a pair of tennis shoes for Chris. So he'll have a boot, his regular redbacks that he wears. Then he'll have a pair of tennis shoes and a pair of rubber boots. These probably will not ever come out of the bag unless it's really bad weather and things get wet. Now, in his bin, he'll have a pair of Crocs because those make good shower shoes or just quick shoes to slip on if you have to run outside. And those are really lightweight. Once I get all these packed, I will bag them. So if there's any residual dirt on them or on the return trip, they'll go back in a bag and they will all just get tucked neatly down inside. So I'm going to stuff the toes of both of the boots with all the extra socks. You can do it with the mittens, you can do it with the scarves, anything that's small that's going to just take up space in the bag. Use up every little bit of space you have, and then I will shove his boots or his tennis shoes down inside there, and if there's anything left, I'll put inside those shoes. And then all of that will go in this bin, which has our heavy duty jackets, heavy sweaters, and long underwear. So like I said, this bag may not get cracked, and then again, we may be using it every single day. So each of us have 2 heavy winter jackets in here in case one gets wet. And then there's like hoodies and stuff that we're going to pack in our regular suitcases. So I know at least one of the campgrounds we stay at has a laundromat. I think the second one does also. And I plan on washing laundry when I'm at campgrounds and it's available, just because it also makes my life easier when I get home to be able to just unpack and put away clean clothes. So I'll go ahead and finish getting this packed up and show you what it looks like. Okay, this is what I am currently using as a first aid kit. I had another one of those sealed drill cases, like those metal silver on the outside and padded on the inside drill cases, but it really just wasn't big enough, and I've gone to this, and actually this isn't big enough. This will probably be one that goes in my car, and I will upsize to a bigger one for when we go camping because the compartments just aren't big enough for me. So up here on top, I have extra bags and wet wipes. Can never have too many of that. Instant cold pack right on top. And then I have things separated out. These are just like little needles if you need a stick for sugar, or if you have a blister or you need to try and get something out, like a splinter or something. There's some matches, band-aids. This is like liquid skin. So it's essentially super glue for your skin. So if you have a bad cut and, well, not too bad. If it's too bad, you don't want to do this. But if you have a cut and you can seal it up after you have cleaned it really well. More Benadryl and Tums. This is one of those sticks to stop bleeding so that you can try and help stop bleeding. These are alcohol wipes and sanitizers, some tape, other kinds of tape, and bandages. There's big flat bandages under here. So that is first here, and of course gloves. You always need gloves. And opened it up. These are like little mini toothbrushes right here, and toothpaste, which I need to refill this. It's getting really low. And if you didn't know, you don't have to buy new ones. You can just refill this. Okay guys, let's start back up here where we were. We were here at toothpaste. So these are toothpaste toothbrushes. There is soap, scissors for cutting away, if there's a little piece of skin that's ripped off, or if you need to cut tape or something like that. I have tweezers, chapstick, emery board, and there are some nail clippers in here, just along with a fresh bar of soap. Here is your emergency flag. If you are on the side of the road, you don't have cell service, and you need to flag somebody down, that's a good thing to have. These are hydrocortisone creams. So there's like hydrocortisone and triple antibiotic, things like that. This is just a large hypodermic needle, and then the band if you needed to pop a vein or draw blood, or there's more than one need for that. Here's some syrup of Ipecac and a pen. If you need to give this to someone, you need to write down when you gave it to them. You can write it right on them, or you can write it on your hand or a notepad or a piece of paper or something like that. So that's good to have. More female stuff. Thermometers. There's two kinds. One that's a stick-on kind that's disposable, and one that is digital. Down here we have wooden tongue depressors. I've never used them as tongue depressors. I have used them many times as finger splints. So that's what those are good for. Q-tips for medicine, small trash bags. This is a nasal aspirator, but I don't have babies anymore. So this would be more for flushing a wound or flushing eyes or something like that. It is clean. It is in the bag. More masks. These, you can use them for dust masks on the trail, or if you didn't want to, if somebody was sick, but more likely we would use them to lightly cover a large wound, because they won't stick to it. So, and that is something that works very well. I've used it on animals, I've used it on chickens, I've used it on people. So, this is like a saline mix. If you get something in your eye, you can use it to flush your eye. It's like a TheraTears type thing, but they're individual. And then these are a multitude of different size gauzes. And then down here in this section, I just keep basic medicines. I don't have a lot of each one, because when we go through them, I will fill them back up again. You don't want to put entire bottles in here because they'll just go bad. So I have Tums, Advil, Aleve, Tylenol. This is Benadryl. This is cold and allergy medicine. And this is some Vicks, which I should put a label on this bottom one because most people won't know what that is. But that is what that is. Sunscreen, because it is important to have that. A magnifying glass. If you have a kid that gets a really bad splinter, or an adult, it's just a good idea to have a magnifying glass if you're really trying to look at something. It's kind of dirty. I probably need to wipe this off, but a magnifying glass works really well. And hey, in a pinch, you can start a fire. Absorbing patch, just if you pull a muscle, something like that. I love these. Before this came out for people, I had Absorbine for my horses, and I used to use my Absorbine horse liniment on me, and it worked really well. This is alcohol and peroxide. It's a triangle patch with the pins if you needed to rig up a splint or something like that, a sling. More girl products down here. There's a comb. I have my stethoscope in here, one of them. Some zip ties. Zip ties always come in handy. This is a poncho, and I know I have another one in here somewhere. Here is an ace bandage, and then these are Orajel. If you ever have a bad toothache, which my brother has bad teeth, and his teeth absolutely kill him. And then if you have braces or something like that, these are great. Also, if you have a small wound, it works on that too. I've had a spot where I've had like an abscess, and I've put Orajel on it to help take the pain away. So that works. There's some tissue in here, some more zip ties, a ponytail holder. So I think that is it in here. I think it is relatively well stocked. I know that it could have more in here, but this one is just not big enough. And honestly, if I don't have something in here to fix whatever the problem is, then we probably need to call a paramedic or go to a hospital. So this is just basic first aid, plus a little bit more. And eventually I think I need to get one of the really big tackle boxes because I know I can fill it up and I know we use it. Last time we were out on the boat, I just had that small one that was in my book bag because we left the other first aid kit in the truck whenever we'd gone out on the boat, and there was a girl that had gotten her foot hit by a propeller and had just sliced it open. It was laid open, and thankfully I had exactly what they needed. I had some not vet tape quite like this. It was the softer, thinner stuff that I really like to use, but I am out of. And I had some large gauze and some wash to wash the wound out, and then so they could just lay the skin over and hold it there and wrap it up until they could get her into town to the hospital. So this is just basic stuff that we need out on the trail. So I'm going to pack this back up and move on.